But a super cool thing that I found near the bottom of the hill is a grizzly bear skull. Got the top jaw and bottom jaw. All right, so I buried some skulls here about 3 months ago. Today is August 9th, and I buried them sometime, I think, in early May, so it's been about 3 months. I buried a grizzly bear skull that I found up in Alaska. It was pretty much clean. It still had a little bit of fur on it and little scraps of meat, and it stunk horribly. So there's one jawbone, and man, this thing smelled horrible when I put it in the ground, and it doesn't have any smell right now, so that is a good sign. I had wrapped it in a kind of a cheesecloth to keep the teeth, you know, because some of the teeth are going to fall out, so I don't want to lose any. But I see the cheesecloth is not here, so that is pretty much disintegrated. There's a couple teeth. So I'm going to try to not lose any teeth. That actually looks broken. That's not good. All right, there's the top of the grizzly bear skull, and you can still see some of the hair that was on there. And there's a tooth. So this is broken a little bit. And yes, it is legal. I have a tag here. I got it tagged up in Alaska. But it's not in the best condition. Like I said, I found this out in the woods, and I didn't know how long it had been there. It had already been chewed on and stuff a little bit. But those holes in there, I don't know if it was just shot or what. But it's definitely it's broken right in the middle, so I'm gonna be gentle with that. Hopefully I can glue that back together. But I believe, maybe looking at that big hole right there, maybe it was shot. All right, move on to the grizzly bear. Again, dug this out of the ground where it was sitting for over 3 months, and now it's been in this bucket of water for a week. Now this skull, unlike all the other ones that I have, this was found in the woods, and it had already been there for probably, you know, I would say at least 6 months to a year. So it was, you know, most of the meat and flesh and stuff was already gone off it. So it was already fairly clean. Had little patches of hair and a little bit of tissue on it, but it was pretty clean compared to the other ones that I had that were fresh skulls where I had just skinned the animal. All right, so this guy is really clean. In fact, I can probably put him in the peroxide now. So yeah, it looks like, you know, he didn't. I thought he got hit by a car because I found him like 50 yards from the road, but I think now he was. He appears to have been shot in the head, which that bullet did a lot of damage to the skull and the integrity of it. Actually, it's a little bit loose right in there. So hopefully I can repair that with some glue, make it a little bit more stable. But yeah, I believe he was shot. So I keep saying grizzly bear, and I know some of you are probably saying, no, it's a brown bear, but grizzly bear and a brown bear are the same thing. Little known fact, they're the same species, Ursus Arctos. There are 3 subspecies, which is the coastal brown bear, the coastal brown bear, the interior grizzly bear, and then the ones on Kodiak Island. But they're all the same species. It just depends on where they live. If they're within 50 miles of the coast, then they're just called brown bears. If they're more than 50 miles from the coast in the interior, like this one was, and all the ones you're going to find like in Montana and stuff, those are all grizzly bears. And then the ones on Kodiak Island are Kodiak. So all grizzly bears are brown bears, but not all brown bears are grizzly bears. Fun fact of the day. Got one jawbone here. So you can tell it wasn't a really big grizzly, probably just like a, I don't know, 2-year-old or something maybe. I really don't know how to age them. But the other jawbone here is broken off. So we'll glue that back together. It's going to look like that. You can see this little part right here, that's the hinge that hooks on the upper part of the skull, and this side is broken off. So we'll see what we can do with it to make it look presentable. All right, so yeah, I'm just gonna put some peroxide in there, not some, all right, so I'm gonna put some peroxide in here, not the new stuff. I've got some that I've already used on some of my beaver skulls, because I mean it's still pretty cheap. It's like 95 cents a bottle, maybe $1 a bottle at Walmart for a quart. But you know it's going to take 8 or 9 quarts to fill this up. So I'm not going to put in fresh bottles. I'll just pour in some old stuff, and it'll work just fine. All right, so I have finished gluing this grizzly bear skull back together the best I can. It was in pretty rough condition because it was shot with a high-powered rifle. Looks like it went in there and then all the way through back into the brain cavity there. But I got all the teeth glued in that I could find. This big canine tooth here is cracked in half and the bottom half is blown out, but the skull's pretty stable right now. Had to use quite a bit of glue, and then the bottom jaw glued all the teeth in and glued the 2 halves of the jaw together. But this back half here is broken off, as you can see. It's supposed to have this little thing right there that connects with the this part of the skull right here. So I'm not going to be able to glue it together with the jaw open, which I think would look cool, but because that left side of the jaw there is broken, I'm not going to be able to do that. So I'm just going to have to leave it as is with the mouth closed. But what I'm looking to do now is not just paint it, but I'm going to attempt to carve with my little off-brand Dremel tool. But I'm thinking about doing like an American flag motif here, kind of on this side that goes across the nose a little bit. So I'll paint it all gloss black, and then well, I'm gonna draw in my lines first, and then I'm gonna engrave those in, carve in the lines and the stars for the flag, and then once that's done, I'm gonna paint it a gloss black, and then I'll try to come back over it later with some red, white, and blue paint. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, so I've got all the pencil marks sketched in, and I just try to get all 13 stripes on here. A couple of them come across over on this side here of the nose. So I'm going to try to carve those in just deep enough so that I can see the lines once I have this painted. Like I said, I'm going to paint it with a couple coats of gloss black paint, and I want to be able to see these lines in here, so I'm not just freehanding the red, white, and blue. Okay, so I put 2 coats of gloss black paint on this bear skull, and I was able to see the little lines that I put in there, and I can still see the stars and stuff. So I painted the red stripes yesterday, let those dry, and now I'm gonna go ahead and paint the white stripes. I don't know if I'm using the right paint, but I just bought some of these little bottles of acrylic paint from Hobby Lobby. So we'll give it a shot. So I'm gonna do the white stripes now, and then tomorrow I'll come back and do the field of blue, and then the day after that I'll try to put those stars on there.